Hey there, welcome to Violet's DIY Style. I'm Violet. If this is your first time to my channel, welcome, and I hope you consider subscribing. So today I'm going to share with you how I made this large high-end Christmas decoration using 5 of these Christmas bells. Now I'm using the medium-sized Christmas bell from Dollar Tree, but they do have some smaller ones and also some larger Christmas bells of the same style. It just depends on how large of a decor piece you want to make. For the wall that I'm going to make this for, this medium size was perfect. So what I'm going to do first is basically split all 5 of my bells in half. Now the mold that these bells are made from actually leave a line right in the middle. So all you have to do is find that line and basically cut it right at that same line in order for you to split this bell in half. I'm using my wood burner, but some people have asked me if there's different ways you can do this besides using a wood burner. And yes, there is. You can basically very carefully with some scissors or a box cutter, you can just kind of score that line and then keep scoring it until it you're able to bend it in half, and it'll just basically break right in half. But I'll also make sure to leave a link down below of my Amazon favorites where you can find this wood burner. Let me know in the comments below, what color are you going to make your bells and what size? I'm kind of curious to know what size people will be making this wall decor piece. I know mine is pretty large, so I'm kind of curious to see the sizes of the different bells and how big of a wall decor piece it will end up being. So again, all you're going to do is basically remove the tassel, remove the little bell handle, and then split and your bell right in half. For the past week, I've been decorating my entire home for Christmas. I was planning on waiting until after Thanksgiving, but I thought, why not? I just want, to have some kind of cheerful brightness in my home. So I might as well just go ahead and start with my Christmas decorations just to get into the holiday spirits and, enjoy my decorations a little bit longer than just a month. Let me know also how many of you are already decorating or are already done decorating for Christmas. So once you're done with all of your bells, you're only going to need 9 of them. So you're going to have 1 extra half of a bell. So all I'm going to do now is basically glue back the ring on one of the bell pieces. And all I did was use hot glue for this. Of course, you can use E6000 or any kind of permanent glue if you don't feel comfortable just using your hot glue gun. So just add a little bit of glue to the tips and then just basically put it right back on top of that half of your bell. Now, of course, you're not going to have enough rings for all 9 of your bells. So what I used for the remainder part of the bells is I'm going to use some of the curtain rings. And all I'm going to do is cut that little hook part in the center. And again, you can use a sharp knife or a box cutter if you don't have a wood burner. Then again, you're just going to add some hot glue and add it to the top of your bell. So once you're done with all of them, what I did was I spray painted mine with this metallic Rust-Oleum color spray paint. And then I set that aside. And I did that because I didn't want that shiny gold color. So next, I'm getting 4 of these yardsticks. I got these at a yard sale for like 5 cents each, I think it was, or 10 cents each. So I grabbed quite a few of them. But I know they're about 98 cents if you go to your local hardware store. So they're still very budget friendly. And all I'm doing is basically painting a khaki color from Apple Barrel, and then I'm going to paint the melted chocolate color right on top. just to make it more of a darker tone. But you can paint these wood sticks any color you like. Once you're done painting them, go ahead and set them aside and allow them to dry. So next what I did was I grabbed my bells, and as you can see the difference between the gold that it came and the color that I painted it. It's kind of like a copper gold color. So now I'm going to use that same melted chocolate brown color from Apple Barrel and then some gold paint. And I'm going to basically sponge it on each one of these bells. And I'm adding that little touch of gold just to give it a small, shinier color mixed in with that chocolate brown. I want it to look more of a rustic gold tone, kind of like if it's an old bell that's been out in the sun, so you can still see a little bit of that gold, but not as much. So that was the kind of style I was going for. But of course, you can go any style on these bells. You can spray paint them all white. You can do whatever color it comes in, you know, for instance, the gold that it was already. I would even think a red would be really pretty as well. But let me know what color you guys are using. So again, all I'm doing is sponging that gold and brown color together and just adding it onto my bells. And these don't take very long at all to dry. Basically, they're going to dry instantly once I finish sponging each one of these. They were all completely dry. So just go ahead and set these aside and just to make sure that they do completely dry. And while those are drying, all I did was grab a garland from Dollar Tree and then these pine cones that I can't remember where I got them, but obviously they were $1. I believe they were from Family Dollar, but Dollar General, Dollar Tree, they all have pine cones, or you can just go outside and grab some from a park or your yard maybe, depending on where you live. And all I'm doing is tying it onto my garland. Now I opened up my garland completely, but what I'm doing is just adding the pine cones, and then I'm going to basically fold this garland back into in half just to make it a little bit thicker, because the garlands from Dollar Tree are a lot thinner. So I just wanted to make it a little bit fuller, so I'm just kind of folding it in half. So once I was done with that, what I did was grab my yardsticks once they were all nice and dry, and I'm gluing each corner together. So I ended up gluing just 2 of the corners to form a 2 L's. And you can see I'm using my L-shaped ruler just to make sure that that corner is nice and straight and the way it should be to make it shape into that square. So just make sure they're nice and dry before you flip them around or move them too much, because they will break off if you don't allow it to dry completely. So once those 2 L shapes are dry, you're going to attach them together, doing the same process, just gluing each corner to the other corner of your sticks. So each one of these sticks, of course, is a yardstick, so you can see how large this picture frame is going to be. So just to give it a little bit extra support, what I did was add some glue and a popsicle stick in the back of each one of these corners, just to make sure it stays in place and doesn't bend or break off. So once I was done with all the 4 corners and made my frame, I got some nautical rope, and all I'm doing right here is sliding 3 of the bells into each one of my nautical ropes. And I'm going to try to even them out and space them out to fall onto my frame this way. So you can add them closer to the edge or to the center, whichever way you like. I kind of just wanted to space them out just to make my life a little bit easier. I moved my frame to the side and just grabbed another yardstick and kind of just using the yardstick to even out and evenly space out each one of my bells that I'm going to attach to my actual picture frame. So this was a lot easier than trying to work with that large picture frame and make sure that they're all evenly spaced out. So as you can see, all I did was once I liked where they were spaced out, I'm just tying a knot onto each one of the top of my bells to make sure that it stays in place and they don't move around. I'm also going to add just a little dot of glue to make sure that that knot stays in place as well. And I'm doing 3 rows of 3 bells each on each row for my frame. Also make sure that you leave a little bit of the rope on either end, and that way you'll have enough to wrap around your frame and attach your bells to your frame. I was inspired by a picture that I saw on Pinterest. I'm always on Pinterest trying to get ideas and just things that I like. I tend to save them for different holidays, especially, and try to recreate them or make them my own. So I had seen a picture, and I'll make sure to leave it in one of the pictures as well, so you can see my inspiration. But I thought it was absolutely beautiful, and it was such a simple but yet large piece that would fill up an entire wall, or even right beside your Christmas tree if you wanted to. That wasn't going to cost much. So those are the best kind of DIY tutorials that I love to share with you, are things that are large and that were very, very budget friendly, but also don't lose that high-end looking decor pieces as well. So I hope you guys do enjoy this tutorial. If you did, don't forget to give me a big thumbs up and share with friends and family as well. So once I was done with all 3 of my rows of bells, what I decided to do was go ahead and tie these bells onto my frame before I went to the next step, which was to add another piece of rope on the opposite side to form kind of like a checkerboard with the ropes onto my frame. So as you can see, all I'm doing is evening it out, leveling where I want each row to be at, and I'm just going to add a little bit of hot glue on my frame to hold it in place. That way it'll stay in place, of course, and I can wrap the rest of the rope around just to give it that style. If you don't want to wrap your rope around, you can also just simply tie a knot on each end of your rope to make sure that your bells stay in place where you want them. So for me, the easiest way to do this to make sure that they were all even was I simply did the bottom row first, and then I did the top row next, and then I did the middle one, just to make sure that that middle one was more in the center where I wanted it to be. So again, you just add a little bit of hot glue and then wrap the rest of your rope around the frame. And then you can either tie a knot or add some more glue to make sure that it stays in place. So once I was done adding all my bells and I was happy where they were at on my frame, I decided to go ahead and get 2 more pieces of the nautical rope, and I'm going to again glue them the opposite way of my bells in order to form kind of like a checkerboard or X's where each one of the bells will be at. So you're just going to need 5 pieces of nautical rope for this project. So here I am just kind of figuring out where I want them to form those squares for the bells. And then I just simply tied a knot on each one of the ropes and then glued the same way I glued the bells onto my frame. I glued this rope right onto my frame as well. And there you have it, a beautiful high-end looking, for me, it's a farmhouse style decor piece for Christmas. So what do you guys think? I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. If you did, again, don't forget to give me a big thumbs up and share with friends and family. Until next time, you guys stay blessed. Bye.